My daughter made cookies. Let me tell you something. That girl can bake cookies like no one else. Anyways, they're delicious, probably nutritious, but they're not good for your waistline. Anyway, mm, don't go anywhere. This is important. The issue of abortion is out there today. As far as, I mean, let me put it to you this way. I used to think as a young woman that abortion was not for me, but who the heck am I to tell anybody what to do with their body? Except that now we have science, real science, and we have ultrasounds that can detect the heartbeat. I think it's 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Tiny, tiny heartbeat is there. It's one of the coolest things you will do as a parent. Hearing your child's heartbeat at 6 weeks or what have you. I don't remember. It's been a while. Okay. My youngest is almost 15. And this is what saying that. We're like in denial. We're in denial that they're so old already. Anyways, no, listen. Okay. So a lot of things changed as I've grown up and become an adult and try to be mature as a Christian. There's a lot of things that have changed that I've changed my mind on, and abortion is one of them. I think that we women have a lot of options. You can use, we have birth control. The first thing is, girls, don't give it up for free. Don't just give it up to anybody that will use you and drop you and whatever, move on to the next one. Okay? Uh that's one thing to me. Okay, but if you want to give it away, who am I to tell you one way or another? But then become a responsible human being and use birth control. There's all kinds. We live in a society where having becoming pregnant is not something that you have to do if you do not wish to be. Okay. Otherwise, my husband and I would have 1,000 kids. Who knows? Anyways, that's not just here or there. But this is like I tell you all the time, friends, dear viewers, be careful who you listen to and who you follow. Always double check your facts. Always double check who's saying what. And always wonder their motives behind what they're telling you. Okay? Don't trust anybody. The only one you can trust is Jesus. All right? So, and that's why I'm a huge advocate of you reading the Bible for yourself so that you're not taken in by just anybody. All right. Uh Don McClellan. I just did a video on him the other day. And I'm trying not to do too many response videos because what I've noticed is that a lot of people grow their channel by attacking other people. But come on. He's he made a video commenting on another video. So he's using other people's video to grow his own channel. So I figure it's fair game, right? All right. So he's responding to some girl that says, you cannot be a Christian if you support abortion. Now, you can be a Christian and be mistaken and support abortion because you don't understand the nuances and you don't know your Bible. That still means that does not mean that you can or cannot be a Christian. There's more to being a Christian than just the issue of abortion. But if you're a Christian and somebody explains to you why we believe the life begins at conception, that you would probably, likely at least give it some thought and try to figure out whether I'm right or whether this is a correct information or not. Okay. So I'm going to share this video and I'm going to share the the portion that I'm a little miffed about, and then we'll talk about it. But see, this is again, this guy is smart, okay? He's not a dummy. He's educated, and he speaks with what sounds like authority. You know what I mean? Let me actually stop sharing. I want to make sure that you can hear the sound. Share. Oh yeah, share the sound. Otherwise, you wouldn't hear it. Da da da. Right, this is good. Be patient. You know, this is high tech. High tech. Okay. Now watch. What does the Bible say about abortion? And one of the passages that they talk about is Exodus 21:22 and all that. All right. Now, what does the Bible say about abortion? It doesn't say anything about abortion. But what it does say is that murder is wrong, that God needs us in the womb, that He knew us before He puts us in the womb. And you know all the verses. Okay. You can just Google that and find all the verses that talk about that. Spend some time reading them and talk about it. Now, this is a 13-minute video. I don't want to make it too long, but I do want to address this one thing. Okay. When he first showed this verse, I'm like, that doesn't sound right in my brain, right? Okay. So let's listen and watch.
22 through 25 address what happens if men who are fighting accidentally injure a pregnant woman. And there are two outcomes that are addressed and a different penalty for each outcome. If the injury causes the woman to miscarry, the penalty is a fine that is not standardized but determined by the husband. And then if the outcome is permanent injury or death to the pregnant woman, that is what activates talionic justice, or an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, life for a life. In other words, capital punishment, talionic justice, is only catalyzed if the actual full legal and moral person is permanently injured or is killed. That is the
All right. If you read, let's read his little thing here. It says, when people who are fighting injure a pregnant woman so that there is a miscarriage, and yet no further harm follows, the one responsible shall be fined what the woman's husband's demand. Now watch here. What is he assuming? You see it, right? He's assuming that when they talk about harm, they're only talking about the harm to the woman. Okay? Yeah, you take down a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. So he's assuming that he's only talking to the harm that can come to a woman. Okay? And there's other issues with this particular translation that he's looking at. Let's go look at this at a different translation. Okay? So you know me, I love my little logo software. Not problem, easy peasy. Let's see, let's make sure I have it right. Okay. So here we are. And in the software it says, when men strive together and hit a pregnant woman so that her children come out, but there is no harm, the one who hit her shall surely be fined. It sounds almost the same, but it's not the same, right? It's not the same translation. And again, what I'm trying to tell you here is when men strive together and hit a pregnant woman, right? She's pregnant and her children come out. How are they coming out? What is the assumption here that is already being put there? That they are children, that they're alive, but there is no harm, meaning that she had her babies, that she's okay, and the babies are okay. Why are we to presuppose that if the children come out, okay, they are, they're not thought of as a person, okay? Now the pregnant, now again, think like a Jewish person in the exile in Jewish time, in the Exodus time. How much did you really know about how babies were made exactly, when life started? As far as you could tell, as a woman, you probably didn't know that you were pregnant until you missed your period. Okay. You knew you laid with somebody, and and if you got your period, yep, you're not pregnant. If you got your period, you're pregnant. Okay. So, in order for you to really truly understand everything behind this kind of verse, you have to put yourself behind that lens. Okay. So, did they know that the life started at conception? No, we do, because you can do it. You know what the best argument for life at conception is? In vitro fertilization. Otherwise, they're all those embryos. What are they? They're alive. They're alive. They'll tell you. Okay. So watch. When men strike together and hit a pregnant woman so that her children come out, but there is no harm, and he's presupposing there is only harm to the woman, but the verse doesn't say that. The verse says children come out, not that she has a miscarriage. And I looked it up in the Hebrew, and the word for children is there, not a word for miscarriage. Actually, let me bring up the thing here. Here's the word. Okay. Here's the word, the children, Yaled, and here's the Hebrew part of it. Where is it? Did I get rid of it? Yeah, yeah. See? Boy, young man, animal, obviously, children, right? It's used as children. If you can see here, it is a bunch of the time it's used as children. Sometimes it's used as child. Okay, and then it has other ways. So the word is not miscarriage. The word is miscarriage is not there. So that there is a miscarriage, the way he puts it there is not here. It's saying that the children come out. Why did not he put this particular translation? Why didn't he? He's a really good scholar when he wants to make a point that is valid. Why? He shows you the Hebrew. He shows you the translations. He shows you the actual words behind the words so that you can understand what's happening. The word here is not miscarriage. The word here come out, and then there's the word children. Okay? Not imaginary clumps of cell. Children. They knew from the beginning that when a woman got pregnant, she got pregnant with what? Children. Okay? The fact that you can say they didn't know that a child was a human being at conception, it's because nobody knew when conception happened exactly. You could track your cycles, and you probably knew some of this and that. You just knew by the signs later on in your pregnancy that you were pregnant. Like I said before, you miss your period, you're pregnant. When did it happen? Don't know. We're very sophisticated now when it comes to the biology of it all. Okay, so you know when it starts. You know when you get pregnant. All right, and actually, I don't know. Most women probably knew, and this is getting on the gritty nitty, but there are ways to know when you're fertile. Okay, if you're a woman, you know. I'm not gonna get into that. Anyways, moving on. So now, the one who hit her shall surely be fined, as the woman's husband shall impose on him, and shall pay as the judges determine. Now he's trying to make saying that if after he misquotes, or not misquotes, but misrepresents this particular verse, then he goes on to make his case from that by saying that because the children are property, okay, then they have to be a fine because they died and it was property, but they were not considered human beings. because for human beings, it's an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, da da da. Okay, watch. The fine is because neither the children nor the woman were harmed, right? So if you change just that particular that if you really follow the thread of the particular verse, you understand that there is no harm to whom? The women and the children. There's two parties there. Okay, so if there's no harm, I have my two babies or whatever, but and get again, it's plural to make sure that includes not only one child, but the two or three or four or however many they could get pregnant with at the time, because twins are a thing, right? We know that from the Bible. Now watch. As the woman husband shall impose on him, and so there's it. So he's saying no, it's because the babies, if the babies die, then there's no their property. But again, women were considered property at the time. All right, not just the men, not just the slaves, not just the children, not just the cattle, the ox, and everything else. Women were property. All right. Now, says here, but if there is no harm, then you shall pay life. If there is harm, then you shall pay life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. There you go. If there is harm, to whom? The mother and the children, plural, two of them, as many as there have. So you can twist it however you want, okay, buddy, friend, whatever, the way you want to twist it around, but and that is and that is what I want to make a point for you, our viewers here. Okay, I can take any verse of the Bible, I can interpret it however my sinful wishes desires are, and make it sound however I want it, and I can actually mount a case from the Bible from whatever it is that I want it to be. Okay, and I could throw verse after verse after verse and things after things at you until I convince you that what I'm trying to say is exactly the way it should be. And that is exactly the way we do Bible and we do church these days. And we do scholarship this day. And that is, I was trying to think what bothered me about this person. I was trying to think, okay, he's really educated, he's really smart. I can see how these things could be true, uh, all of that. You know what made me pause is that when he talks about the things that he says, his scholarship, he speaks of them as facts, his own facts, data over dogma, right? But here's the thing, there's no humility behind any of that. There is no room for error that he might have, okay? There's no oh, maybe I could be wrong, misunderstanding or misinterpreting. And so he relies solely on what on his own personal interpretation, not only of the Bible, but of the things that other people have written. But for every argument you see out there, okay? For every argument you see out there, there's another argument against that from the Bible. And it's going to be up to you to decide and figure out which one is correct, which one would be the thing that Jesus would approve or disapprove of you. Oh, what are you doing? Putting out the cat food?
Well, yeah, I let her out the basket.
Oh, yeah, you don't want her to eat
I
that.
don't want her to eat.
So, all right. So, all that to say, friends, let me put it to you this way. Let's say he can probably run rings around what I say, convincing you that indeed the Bible says nothing about abortion. That and then that there is writings after that in early Jewish Jewish history. They tell you that abortion is okay as long as it's between the first 40 days, all of this stuff. Okay? All right. But, friends, I want you to think about the teachings of Jesus Christ. Okay? The value that he put on life. Okay? The value that he put on the children, everybody around him, so much so that he gave his own life for ours. Okay? Now, this same Jesus Christ that is your king and mine, okay, will he be okay with abortion? Can you, as a Christian, take this case and say, Jesus, this is why I should have an abortion? Can you take that to him? Okay? No. Okay? And here's another thing. The Bible tells you over the centuries that the Bible was written in, God adapted and changed and accommodated for us, okay, according to our knowledge, according to the things we knew. Now, for instance, the Jewish people were not allowed to eat pork. Now, it's a lot of there's probably a lot of ritualistic reasons why at the time, but as you know now, if pork is not cooked properly, it carries trichinosis, which is a really bad disease. Okay? So I'm God, well, not me, but there's God. God knows that he wants to set these people apart, but there's other purposes behind that. Imagine, so he wants to make sure that these people live. Well, one of the things is pigs are nasty. All right? So don't eat those. It could wipe out an entire nation. Oh, here's another one. Wash your hands. Be clean. Don't touch dead things and things like that. Yes, it's all to set you apart. It's got all this theological baggage behind it, but it's also very practical. Cleanliness, sets away germs and all these other things. Now, the more we know, the more we can understand some of the things that in order for you to understand the Bible, you need to put yourself in the shoes of the sandals or whoever was walking the path back then. But then you have to understand, now you have a different kind of knowledge. So then you put yourself in it. Did they know that life started at conception? Probably not. But you know now. Why? We have all the technology in the world to tell us what happens within the confines of a womb. And you can see the life starts at conception. And if you're a woman that has had children, okay, that has had ultrasounds, that has had ultrasounds and had a true miscarriage, okay, you know the difference. So, friends, at the end of everything, here's how you can tell a scholar from a scholar. A scholar that tells you things and gives you a fact that he knows about will have all the details behind everything he tells you. He will have all the writings. He will tell you this and that. Will list all the resources because these are common knowledge for him or her. And in the end, he will allow for the fact that he will show you the other side of the coin. Why? Because a true scholar will not only study what he believes, will see what he believes on all this other stuff, but he'll try to make a case for the other side. That's something they do in school for you, to teach you how to be a thoughtful thinker. You pick a case, and not only do you have to argue the pros and the cons of that case. And while I gotta say, I have a love-hate relationship with the friends of Michael Heiser. But I will tell you one thing he said in one of his speeches or his teachings. Whatever subject you like in the Bible, you can make a case for both sides every time. Okay? But then that's why you need to use your discernment as a Christian. What would Jesus think? What would Jesus say about this? And again, abortion is murder that is behind a long list of sins you already committed. Probably sex outside of marriage, promiscuity, sexual immorality. And that's where it all starts. Anyways, just be careful who you listen to. I mean, he's got a lot of good points. He's educated, just like a lot of other scholars out there. But again, he's a team of one. And what you need to do is do your own research. Look at this. Take whatever you know about Jesus and compare it against that, and go like, yeah, I'm gonna go with Jesus, who would probably say no. That is abortion is not okay under any circumstances. And then after that, you decide. All right. Anyways, God bless. Just be careful out there. There's a lot of people with a lot of letters behind their name, uh, where you would want to follow what they say, and don't idolize anybody. They're humans just like you, just like me. And the only one that's always right is the Lord Jesus Christ. God, God bless. Bye bye.